Stellantis has faced slumping sales and shutdowns at some of its facilities.
Have you ever heard of Stellantis? Maybe not. But I bet you've heard of Jeep, Dodge, Chrysler, or Ram, some of the most iconic American car brands. Stellantis owns them all, and they're the fifth largest automaker in the world. But despite a record-breaking 2023, Stellantis is now facing a crisis that no one saw coming. In just 6 months, Stellantis has seen its stock price drop by more than 50%. Investors are losing confidence, sales are tanking, and the company is in serious trouble. So what the heck happened? We're not talking about long-term strategies anymore, or exciting new models. The conversation now is all about one thing: how much it's going to cost Stellantis to get rid of the mountains of unsold cars sitting on U.S. lots. And it's not pretty. Let's break it down. "2024 is not just a bad year, it's a catastrophe. Stellantis' profits have plummeted nearly 50%, and their market share in the U.S. is shrinking fast.
It is an understatement to say that H1 2024 results were disappointing and humbling.
To make things worse, in late September, Stellantis slashed its full-year forecast for profits and cash flow. On that very day, their stock nosedived a staggering 133%. The pressure is mounting. Investors are furious. Industry experts are calling for CEO Carlos Tavares to step down. It's becoming clear that Stellantis has a huge problem. But what's causing this meltdown? Here's a shocking stat. Stellantis' share price hit $29.51 in March 2024, but now it's barely above $13. And the reason is clear. Poor U.S. sales from their American brands like Dodge, Jeep, and Chrysler. Sure, other automakers are facing tough times, but Stellantis is bleeding market share to its rivals fast. The dealers are furious. Stellantis' National Dealer Council has had enough. In September, several high-profile dealers publicly accused the company of mismanagement, and it's easy to see why. Just 3 years ago, Stellantis dealers were raking in around 4.5% profit margins. Today, many of them are barely making 1%. Dave Kellerer, a Dodge and Jeep dealer in Pennsylvania, used to sell around 185 cars a month. Now he's down to just 100. His lot is stuffed with nearly $27 million worth of cars, and they're not moving. The root of the problem? Stellantis has been raising prices aggressively while letting product quality slip. The result? People are walking away from their showrooms. In fact, 5 of the top 8 car brands sitting unsold on dealer lots right now are Stellantis-owned. It's not just the dealers who are fed up. The United Auto Workers, UAW union, is on the verge of striking again.
Contract negotiators for the United Auto Workers Union and 3 major automobile manufacturers have just 1 week left to avoid a strike.
Earlier this year, Stellantis' suppliers even halted production over pricing disputes, with some of the disagreements spilling into the courts. North American operations were once seen as Stellantis' cash cow, but now the company is under fire from all directions. To understand Stellantis' current problems, we have to look back at its origin. Stellantis was born in 2021 from a merger between France's PSA Group, makers of Peugeot, and Fiat Chrysler. And let's be real, Chrysler has always been the weakest link among the big 3 Detroit automakers. Even before the 2008 financial crisis, Chrysler's market share was shrinking, and by 2009, they had declared bankruptcy.
Chrysler will file for bankruptcy after failing to reach a deal with some of its debt holders.
But then came Sergio Marchionne, the man who's credited with saving Chrysler from the brink. Under his leadership, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram became powerhouse brands. But after his death, Stellantis lost its way. Remember when Jeep Wranglers were affordable? Yeah, that's ancient history. During the pandemic, Stellantis hiked Jeep prices by over 30%, pushing models like the Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer into luxury car territory. Prices climbed as high as $120,000. But here's the thing. Consumers weren't willing to pay luxury prices for a brand that wasn't delivering on quality. And now Jeep and Dodge, once the darlings of the auto industry, are losing ground fast. The Dodge Hornet, a small SUV, has been an absolute flop, with one of the highest inventories sitting unsold in the U.S. Dealers are begging Stellantis for incentives to help them move the overpriced inventory that's piling up. And while Stellantis has finally started offering some, it's too little, too late. Many industry insiders say Stellantis should have slashed prices back in Q2 to get cars moving. But instead, CEO Carlos Tavares doubled down on cost-cutting, swapping out North American management like chess pieces. Experienced Chrysler execs like Tim Kuniskis, who helped revive the Dodge brand, have been pushed out. And now the people running Stellantis don't seem to know how to fix the mess they've created. So can Stellantis turn things around? In the short term, Stellantis needs to do one thing: sell more cars. But long-term, critics say the company doesn't have a fresh, exciting lineup to win back customers. Unlike the era of Sergio Marchionne, where new models were rolling out regularly, Stellantis seems stuck. Sure, there are some new SUVs and electric vehicles on the horizon, like the all-electric Jeep Recon set for 2025. But can it be enough to save Stellantis from its tailspin? Stay tuned. This story is far from over.